Have you ever felt like life is just a string of gray days waiting for something good that never seems to come? And then, just one sentence from an ordinary person suddenly changes the way you see everything. Listen to the story of Mira, a woman who learned to turn fear into strength with just 2 words: positive thinking. In a small village on the outskirts of Jaipur, where the morning sunlight gently spreads across the rooftops and the sound of temple bells lingers in the mist, there lived a woman named Mira. She shared a humble home with her 2 young children, a house that faced a wide field of sugarcane. Every morning, the villagers would see her walking down the dusty road, a basket of vegetables in her hands, on her way to the market. No one knew that each of her steps was a quiet battle between worry and faith. Her husband, Arjun, had left their village for the city of Mumbai more than 3 months ago. Before leaving, he promised that once he found a stable job, he would send money home. But since the day he left, not a single letter had arrived. Mira never complained, but every night, after her children had fallen asleep, she would sit silently on the porch, her eyes gazing toward the distant horizon, toward the city that now existed only as a faint glow in her imagination. One morning at the market, an elderly woman named Devi walked toward her. She was small, with silver hair and a gentle smile so warm it could calm any storm. She sold small jasmine garlands and hand-dried tea leaves. That day, she stopped in front of Mira's stall and asked softly, "Are you all right?" Mira forced a faint smile, trying to hide the dark circles under her eyes. "I'm fine," she said quietly. "It just, sometimes I feel afraid. I'm afraid Arjun might never come back. I'm afraid I won't have enough to feed my children." Devi said nothing for a while. She looked down the dusty red road where the wind was scattering dry leaves, then whispered, as if speaking to the wind itself, "My dear, when we think everything has fallen apart, it's usually just our minds that have grown tired." Mira lowered her head. Tears rolled down her suntanned cheeks. "I don't know how to think differently, ma'am. Every morning, I wake up and the first thing I imagine is the worst." Deva sat beside her, her eyes calm and steady. "Let me tell you a story," she said. "Many years ago, I went through a terrible monsoon. The flood washed away all my rice fields, and half of my house was gone. For weeks, I cried, thinking the heavens were punishing me. One day, a little girl from the village came to me. She handed me a lotus flower she had picked from a muddy pond and said, 'Look, Grandma, even in the mud, the lotus still blooms.' I looked at her and realized the flower blooms because it keeps reaching for the light. From that day on, I began planting seeds again. And the next season, my fields grew greener than ever." Devi paused, letting out a long breath, as if releasing an old memory. Then she turned to Mira. "When you think dark thoughts, your heart closes and your hands stop working. But if you tell yourself, one day he will send a letter home, you'll find the strength to cook, to sell your vegetables, to raise your children, and to keep waiting." Mira sat in silence for a long time. She looked at her rough, calloused hands, then whispered, thinking good thoughts? Can that really help me? Debbie smiled and placed her hand on Mira's shoulder. It won't change the world overnight, but it will change how you walk through each day. And sometimes that's all the world really asks of you, to take one more step. From that day on, Mira no longer sighed when she woke up. She looked at the sunlight streaming through the window and told herself, today will be a good day. She took her children to the riverbank, showed them the kites dancing in the sky. At the market, more people began buying from her stall. Some said it was because she smiled more often, but in truth, her smile was her way of holding herself together. One afternoon, as Mira was arranging her vegetables, the village postman arrived. In his hand was a worn envelope with Arjun's shaky handwriting on it. Inside, Arjun wrote that he had found a job at a textile factory in Mumbai and would send money home that week. He apologized for being silent so long. Mira stood still, reading the letter again and again. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but this time she was smiling. As the sun set, she brought the letter to Devi's house. Devi read it and nodded slowly, as if she had known it all along. You see, Mira, she said softly, when we open our hearts to goodness, goodness finds its way back to us, not through magic, but because when you believe, you keep planting seeds, and the earth never forgets those who keep sowing. That night, Mira sat on the porch while her children slept peacefully. She looked up at the sky full of stars, listening to the crickets in the soft wind rustling through the thatched roof. And for the first time, she felt a peace she had never known before, not because everything was perfect, but because she knew that no matter what happens, she would always choose the light, the power of positive thinking. It doesn't change your life overnight, but it's the small flame that helps you walk through the hardest days. Even when the rain falls and the storms come, keep planting seeds of faith, because sooner or later, the sweet fruits will find their way to you. If this story touched your heart, share it to spread positive energy, like and subscribe so we can keep walking together on the path of light and faith.